And yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to episode 3 of The Bus Stop, a little sort of short catch-up, 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending how the chat goes. Say first week it was like 18 minutes, last week it was 15, so who knows where this bus is going, who knows where. But yes, just a wee casual catch-up with myself and Russell Boyce, and again, I will just remind everybody that we're not live right now, so any comments you're putting in asking, Phil, what do you think of this? Or Boycey, what do you think of this? We don't know because we can't react to it. But, there will be a live chat section. I'm sure Russell will be in there when this premieres on YouTube. So, Russell Boyce, how the devil are you, my friend?
I'm brilliant, mate. What a night. I spent all night thinking I might go out for a pint. Will I? Won't I? And instead, I spent it watching the full Bustalgia show that you did tonight. Musa versus French Eddie. It was a class watch, mate. And it just one of those ones where you watch it going, I'm not even like remotely involved in any aspect of this now. Like it's all completely removed, yet it's under our umbrella, if you like. And that it fills you with pride as well. But genuinely, I kind of forget that I'm part of the bus, if you like. I was just watching it as a viewer, just chipping in with comments like any other viewer would, which I think tells you the quality of the show.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that massively. Although, if it was a boxing match, I think it would have been stopped after one round because that poll was absolutely absurd. I mean, I know I lean towards Musa Dembele as well out of the two, but geez, 94% to 6%. I was like, poor French Eddie got absolutely doing. It's like, stop the damn match, as JR would say. It was a slobber knocker, mate. Stop the damn match.
It was so, like that. They've killed him, goddammit.
Oh, no. I'm absolutely surprised at that one, baby. That's the first of what will be a few different versus episodes that will come along in the Bustalgia series as well. I'll mix it up. I've got a few different ideas. So that's shown that worked. I felt that concept was good.
Very good concept. Very good concept.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it massively. So, Russell, let's do our usual little sort of catch up of what's going on because it's a week of food controversy on the bus, but there's definitely been another week of controversy on the park because VAR is at it again. Now, last night, you, me, and the judge, we were obviously doing the TNF. It was on the dust was settling on the Motherwell game. So again, VAR was at the centre of it. And since then, Celtic have obviously forced some kind of statement out of the SFA and just get your quick thoughts on that. I suppose it's something that you'll probably talk about more on PMP or Sunday Brunch this week. But do you think Celtic maybe smell a rat here? Because it seems like human error.
100%. Yeah. I mean, no doubt that Celtic know more about this than what anyone's going to lead you to believe. I think it's quite apparent that, the excuse of a camera was turned to the dugout at the time. Okay. Shows that footage for that time. Shows it. Because it'll be time stamped in the corner. Yeah, of course it will. If that is the case, prove it. And I think there is an element of doubt now coming out of wait now. Yes, the cameras are calibrated, but never in a million years is VAR a system that Ange has called out so well. He has literally told us that it's been around for 4 years, mate. What's these teething problems? I bet you in his lifetime working, as he said, he goes, the A-League you think's a backwater. They had it 4 years ago. Never in a million years has he ever, as a manager, walked out of a match and the example of an offside has been given from the camera angle that we were given. That tells you it all. I think there is something going on about it. They're trying to sweep under the carpet. I'm not saying it's all mischievous. I don't want to go too far down that road. I think there's actually stronger examples if you're going to go down that road of what's happened this season. That's just my takeaway, Phil. But what I will say on that is when you see that as the evidence, Celtic, they're calling it out for a reason. Now, obviously, people speak behind closed doors. That we're not privy to these conversations, but something's struck a chord with Celtic. They went, we're on to a winner here. We're going to call these bastards bluff. But I have to say, the SFA's answer, I literally called that on the TNF.
You did? Yeah, you did.
It was almost word for word, mate. I was like, that is what they're going to do. Albeit they never went as far because they must be shitting themselves a bit as to say this is a system voted for by Celtic and paid for the most by Celtic, which would have been a knife. But if they were in a really confident position, I think they would have played that card. It tells me they're on a sugary peg here with this one. I think Angie's comments since then tell me the information he's getting for the club are we're kind of on this one. And it's not being paranoid. I don't care about people saying that, Phil. It's we'll call it as I see it on the bus. And it's great to see Celtic calling out something if they think it's dodgy.
Yeah, I think my take from it when I read it and talking about the camera pointing in the wrong direction and human error, my feeling was, so you're telling me that they made a decision without 100% conclusive proof that it was offside, and they deemed it to be offside when they didn't have the angle that would have proved it? That's what you're telling me. So that kind of is a red flag to me, that it's like, yeah, you haven't really, you think you have put out an answer that will accept, but you've kind of shot yourself in the foot by admitting, yeah, they made that decision on the basis they didn't actually have the proper camera angle. So it's kind of like, kind of made a mistake there, guys. But
they're getting tied up in knots by our manager right now. And let's just see it play out. That's how I would leave that one, because I just think, let's see how this plays out, because wherever Celtic's been weak in the past, Andrew's the absolute polar opposite to that. But he's not a direct crier and baller. He's just succinctly brilliant at this sort of thing. And I think as a spokesman for the club right now, we couldn't be in better hands. He is taking them to school.
Got them on strings, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. And yeah, he's an absolute treasure for the club. Just this is a guy that we need to, speak out about these things. And hopefully, well, ideally, we don't want to see any more VAR controversies, but sadly, we know it's going to keep happening, it seems. So we've got the right man there to basically, call it out. And hopefully tomorrow, though, we don't have any repeats against County.
You're right what you said, though. I mean, like, about controversy with us for a change. I mean, the bus stop won't always be about controversy with us, mate. I mean, the saying comes to mind, nobody cares, mate, because, all that nonsense over the last couple of weeks, it's all died a death, mate, as well as, views, I'm sure, elsewhere. Once we're pinpointed for utter bullshit, once if that becomes how you grow audiences and stuff, that's easily dismantled after a while once you lose that. So right now, you're right. It's been a very quiet week for Boise controversy, and long may that continue, my man.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I'm glad you said the word about growing audiences there, because let's get on to something positive, because at the start of the week, also we passed the latest milestone in subscribers. The bus has hit over 3,000 subscribers now, mate. Well done. Massive congrats. And obviously, I know the answer is going to be you're going to be delighted, but tell me how you feeling about that. I mean, we think back to a year ago. We're coming up to a year now with the bus. 3,000 subscribers, mate. Was that even like on your mind?
Oh, I mean, you don't know how it's going to go. You don't know how it's going to go. But I just think as well, it's very funny that my birthday is shared with Celtic. And if you actually look through the years, Celtic tend to get ridiculous results around this time of year, right? At that time of year, around their birthday, the Barcelona one, the Leipzig 2-1. Remember, we actually scored for kickoff after they equalised.
Actually, aye.
And there's another one that's I can't think of the game, but Lil Z had tweeted about it. I went, fuck, there's another one around that date. It's just for us to have passed the 3,000 mark, we jumped up literally on my birthday around 25 subs, which we don't normally jump in a day. It just feels sometimes like it's written in the stars.
Aye, it was that was destiny, just how it all aligned and came together at that exact point. Because it was live on the Monday Club, wasn't it? That it was announced, or was it on? So it was Sunday sesh. It was Sunday sesh. It happened live, didn't it? Where we passed the 3,000. It was that one. I was trying to piece it together in my head, because I remember in the chat people were putting the thing and saying you've just passed 3,000. So it's good to see that the viewers are picking up on the type of things as well. That's but long may it continue, mate. Long may it continue.
No, we're totally blessed, mate, by it. We're totally blessed, and it's a huge shout out to everyone who watches the channel. The support we've had's been unreal. And it's actually getting weird now, Phil, how many names you're becoming familiar with. But then you start adding on, you're like, that's three obviously we're not familiar with 3,000 names, but it's in the hundreds. How many names are now household regulars on this bus? Household passengers, if you will. That is unusual.
Aye, as in, well, the other thing that is obviously part of the bus that the viewers are getting familiar with is the contributors. And somebody I want to just give a wee mention to, we saw a return this week of Mark Spowert onto the show, first time in a while, and I thought he was fantastic. But one of, I believe you said 9 different contributors we've had this week on the show.
Well, what we're trying to do, and what we always tried to do, was give a platform to someone who's never done this before, put them through the normal atmosphere of a pod, and then grill them at the end with a quiz, a five question quiz, which really isn't all that remarkable, Phil, right?
Yeah.
But remarkably, somehow puts the pressure on, puts the heat on them. And if you can handle that, you can become, I'm like, fucking hell, they do all right, in a post-match after we get beat 3-0. Do you know what I mean? Mark Spowert is someone I was kind of familiar of prior to doing the bus.
Yeah.
I'd known him kind of locally, but not like particularly pals. And he was brilliant in the Double Doon show. He's also brothers with fanboyfootball.com. So there's another link. I bet you didn't know. And Mark, I thought he was outstanding. But yeah,
he was good.
Going back to the variation, people might think, because it's the Boise bus, which is a term I'm not all that comfortable with now. I know the reasons why I termed it the Boise bus at the time. But getting 9 different contributors on the space of a week tells you that there is a lot of variation in the content that we're delivering. And I just think it goes to show this bus doesn't stop.
Indeed, mate, indeed. And that's interesting you say that, because obviously we're coming up to a period this season. A much maligned World Cup is about to start. So we talk about the amount of shows that we put out. We aim to try and do 7 days a week if it's organically possible. Obviously, we need fixtures to fall a certain way for that. But we've got more than enough content to do at least 7 shows a week. We've said that already on doing the bus stop. But obviously, we're coming up to the World Cup month. And is there anything in the pipeline, any wee crumbs you want to give any of the viewers, but any new shows or any sort of idea of schedule coming up, what we're going to be doing over that time? Or are you still keeping it quiet, being mysterious about it?
I don't really do mystery that well, Phil. What I would say is, I think when we did the Sunday sesh last week, that was the first one we'd done in maybe a couple of months, and it got like 2,500 views. There was a really good interaction, and it's one of those shows where you can kind of go through any avenue after a while that you want. That might not be really relevant in the modern day, but once you actually start talking about it, becomes a really primary focus of what Celtic should be looking at, i.e. the youth setup. I think we were discussing last week with Terry, etc. But one thing, we've got viewers here who are passionate about the bus, passengers as I would like to call them, because they're all part of the bus. And Kaiser, for example, is none more so than that. Now, Kaiser's someone I've got the utmost respect for. He's mad as a brush, but I'm a bit mad when I want to be as well. So I think we will be doing maybe once a month, once every 6 weeks, a Fun Day Sunday with Kaiser. And I'll happily host that and deal with Kaiser all day, but he actually gives a lot of good input in between all the madness, but it's also a lot of fun. So I think that could be something that really we explore during the World Cup. On top of that, I think the Bustalgia, obviously I know it's your baby, but I would imagine we're going to go back down the road we did in the summer and maybe tackle some of those international tournaments that we didn't before. Yeah. And maybe there could be the odd sort of shorter episode, which we're maybe guilty of not always doing. And maybe the odd shorter episode, as opposed to it being like, all right, I'm committing to an hour of my life to watch the bus. Maybe the odd short episode, just doing a review of Japan played whoever it is in their group. Yeah. Right? Maeda started the game. Let's look at the game, but particularly from a Maeda prism. Or Croatia played. And the best right back in the world played. How did he fare? And maybe like they could be short shows that we do. Boom. And I think that would be really cool. We also have other plans, obviously, to celebrate the 1 year birthday of the bus. Yes, we will be in an actual studio. I know it's one that Ryan 118 uses for his TSF and the Celtic the Thunder. G4. So in fairness, I got the idea from that. Just thought that looks really cool.
Yeah.
So thanks to the members of the bus and those who subscribe, etc., etc., we've been able to build a wee pot where I'm able to invest that money to hire out the studio for a good few hours that afternoon, and we'll get a couple of different shows. We'll do a bus stop from there, and we'll also do a standard. We'll do a standard podcast from there as well, and I think that will show that we're dedicated to whatever it is we're bringing in to try and put it back into the channel. And I think over the period as well, there's an opportunity to do something for charity. I would love those who comment, who watch the bus stop shows, to give us a wee bit of insight as to what ideas they've got that we could do for charity. We had an idea about streaming, maybe. Remember we used to do the Championship Manager stuff? I think we could, I know Ryan Mum and H just streamed FIFA, but genuinely the week before that, me and you did the chat. This is the truth about streaming Championship Manager. And I've seen the success he had, and I go, that kind of, we could do that. Or could we do a 12-hour live show with an I can't say the word, amalgamation? Is that the
amalgamated?
Word? Yeah. Amalgamated, of a Bustalgia for a couple of hours, a TNF, a Monday Club, with all your regular guests you associate with those shows coming on and filling out the 12 hours. And if I need to stream Championship Manager for a couple of hours or whatever it may be, we could do that and see what funds we could raise for a charity of choice.
Sounds good, mate. Sounds good. And another thing I just wanted to quickly bring up was it's not just the seeing our faces on the screen. There's also been some celebration regarding audio downloads as well, because the numbers are doing really well in that part, and that's something that we don't often, I mean, I'm guilty of it myself when I talk about all the good stuff, where I say, like, subscribe, share, and all that. But no, obviously we've got people who just listen to us on the iPod. So yeah, the audio numbers are doing really well at the moment as well.
Unbelievable. Like even though we've always put it as an audio podcast, as well as I always just think of the bus as a YouTube channel, but really every show that we do, we put it out as an audio download.
Yeah.
And it's really of late that, I showed you the stats. I think this month we're on course for potentially 2,000 audio downloads if we carry on at the rate we're going. Yeah. Last month we got over 1,600. The month before that, 1,700. So yes, we need to acknowledge those who do enjoy just listening to the bus, whether it be on Spotify, iTunes, whatever it may be, Podbean, all that sort of thing. Like, whoever they may be, we maybe need to pay more kudos to that. And I had no idea. So I just thought folk joined to see whatever daft colour I've got in my hair, mate. Do you know what I mean? So, and whatever retro top you were wearing, Phil. Where are the retro tops gone, by the way? Where are they gone?
Oh, they're still in the cupboard behind me. I've just not had my own for a wee while. I've not got any new ones for a wee while. I've cost of living crisis and stuff going on, mate. So, had to slow down a wee bit there. I think Tops.
Is that a new one every show? Is that it? There's not.
Tops were probably wondering where the orders have gone. They're like, hey, he stopped ordering. What the hell's going on there? Well, that used to be putting in these orders. But no. I'll have a wee shop around probably in maybe the new year or something and get a few more, because I pretty much raided them, and now it's like I'll let them restock a wee bit, but the class, man, they really are class. We're not sponsored by Toffs, by the way.
No, not yet.
Not yet. You might think they are the amount of times I appear with one of our shirts on, but they.
And Adidas definitely don't sponsor me either, sadly.
But no, that's us coming up to just coming to 20 minutes. I suppose that's within that little window that we always try and aim for. So yeah, so that's another bus stop wrapped up, another wee recap of what's going on in the week. And yeah, going forward, tomorrow, obviously Celtic are playing Ross County, we'll have PMP, there'll be a show on Sunday as well.
Yeah,
and then
PMP. And then the Sunday Blether, then the Monday Club. And then, obviously we enter into World Cup territory, but we will try and keep producing content to keep you guys happy, because the numbers this time are so encouraging. The new faces that we're getting is so encouraging. And to be honest, the positive feedback means the fucking world. So, we've got to keep delivering, mate. We've got to keep delivering. Even if Celtic aren't playing, I still think there's plenty to debate. There always is.
There always is. There'll always be. I'm sure VAR will give us something to debate. Even when a game isn't happening, we'll still find a way to talk about VAR. I mean, VAR's going to be the World Cup, so we can use that as a benchmark. This is how it should be used.
Even when I cross a red light, you know what I mean?
But obviously, it's been another fun catch-up again, so we'll leave it at that, mate. And then, yeah, onwards to tomorrow, and yeah, it'll be PMP will be the next time that we'll be on. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and we shall catch you all later.
Cheers, Phil.